Today, you'll hear some big numbers.
Like 8,000.
Like 100.
Like 1 million.
And some big ideas.
Like doubling the income of 50 families.
Like ending food deserts.
Like transforming entire neighborhoods and villages.
But our promise to you is that whenever you hear us speak about the work and results of our projects,
it's about the direct impact that our team and projects have had on the community.
not what our school did, not what our partner did, not something that might happen next week or in 6 months, but what we, a team of students, have accomplished. Our promise to you is that when you hear us speak about how we funded our projects,
Through grants, donations, partnerships, and entrepreneurial action.
We're not talking about funds we might one day raise or the resources of our university or partner.
We're talking about the funds and resources that members of our team intentionally, strategically, and directly secured.
why? Because students are the ambassadors of the possible. Because the whole point of being a college student in the first place is to find out what we're capable of and then push it even further. So today, when you see what a few students from La Sierra University can do, just imagine what is possible for students all over the world.
So how do we identify what's possible for our team? We begin by identifying what we call livelihood gaps. A livelihood gap is the difference between someone's current and ideal situation.
Let's take a look at our local community of Riverside, California. That blue circle on the left is our La Sierra University campus. Now, can you find any areas in red? All of these areas within 15 miles of our school meet the USDA standards to be classified as food deserts. Residential tracts where due to income, transportation, or mobility challenges, a majority of the residents have low access to healthy food.
This is one of the most serious challenges in our community, but how should we address it? In the past, we took an education-only approach. We'd hold health and nutrition workshops. We'd even bring in local chefs to do cooking demonstrations for families on a budget. And people loved it. But did it actually work? Not really.
Because education alone is not enough. No matter how good of a job we do of convincing people to consider healthier lifestyle and nutrition options, no matter how many people attend and enjoy our workshops, it simply won't work if people do not have reasonable access to the healthy food we are talking about. You can't bridge a gap with half a bridge. We were missing something. What could we do when the only way for seniors, low-income families, and so many others to get to the nearest grocery stores to take the bus? Have a bus bring the food to them instead?
Absolutely. Meet Mobile Fresh, Riverside's first and freshest mobile grocery store. This city bus turned produce aisle is bringing fresh, healthy food to where it's needed the most. Senior apartments, schools, and even local office parks, visiting 40 different locations over every 2-week cycle.
Now let's take another look at that map. Each of those blue bus icons represents just one of our mobile fresh stops launched within the past 12 months. Neighborhoods where we have closed that access gap.
But just like our produce, this project did not grow overnight. It was the result of a long
And fruitful.
Yes, Joe, long and fruitful partnership with local nonprofit, the Family Service Association, or FSA. In 2009, our team purchased an underutilized shuttle bus from FSA, transforming it into the Green Machine, a mobile learning experience with activities about reducing, reusing, and recycling. The success of that project led us to frequently discuss ways we could repurpose other vehicles.
Last spring, one of these ideas became a reality as FSA led the charge to purchase a large city bus and transform it into a mobile grocery store with the support of city officials and others, including our friends at Walmart and Wells Fargo.
Soon, all over our community, people were asking if the bus would be coming to their neighborhood. We needed to grow faster, so our team made full use of every opportunity, including the Unilever Bright Future Partnership through Enactus United States. Meanwhile, FSA applied for a grant from this small organization called the National Broadcasting Corporation.
But let me be clear about something. Our partner, not our team, applied for the grant from NBC. They deserve full credit for what happened next.
Exactly. And sometimes it's more fun to work behind the scenes. So when NBC Los Angeles presented Mobile Fresh with a $100,000 check, their largest award ever in the history of their grant program, there's our partner. And there! Andrew, you're on TV.
Part of what makes Mobile Fresh so successful is a set of clearly established roles between our team and our partner. FSA manages the day-to-day operations, including loading and driving the bus, and our Enactus team designs and implements all sales and marketing strategies.
But let's be honest, most grocery stores make razor-thin profit margins on fresh produce. Now add in a nonprofit model that relies primarily on grants, and you're bound to fail as soon as the funding stops. That's why we knew we had to reach full operational sustainability.
Look, Mobile Fresh does solve the access problem, but that doesn't guarantee people are going to shop with us. We need to treat them like customers, not service recipients, and operate this like a business, not a charity. As all of you in this room know, if you want customers, you need to establish trust, build relationships with people. And so we did, in a way that only a team of college students could. It was time for the other half of the bridge, education.
We created nearly 30 Mobile Fresh missions, an ambitious set of challenges for our entire Enactus team. Missions included everything from knocking on doors in neighborhoods, to creating children's book about the bus, to large-scale community events, to running around town in pepper and carrot costumes. With each success and failure, our team developed stronger strategies to sustainably increase sales.
We packaged the best ideas coming out of our Mobile Fresh missions and categorized them into 2 areas. With Fresh Talks, we created lessons on heart health, used the Unilever Heart Age tool, held cooking demonstrations, and sometimes just talked with people. You'd be amazed at how much you can teach someone when you spend most of your time listening.
With our Fresh Tots program for kids, we created a children's book called Moby the Bus Feeds Her Friends. Children learn the story of food deserts and our Mobile Fresh bus in a fun and educational way.
So why do all of this? Because relationships matter. People would never let us stay in their neighborhoods if they felt like we were only interested in making money or just getting a few photo ops. These people see us as a part of their community and see themselves as a part of the success of our project.
This is Mission Bell Elementary School. Their teachers call every parent the day before Mobile Fresh arrives. We didn't ask them to do it, and we didn't pay them to do it. Our team could never have made this happen on our own, and yet a whole line of parents is there 30 minutes before the bus comes.
And one of our greatest supporters happens to also be a customer. This is Patty. Her husband is a Navy veteran, and both of them qualify for food assistance, but they want to pay for their own food. But the real problem is that they had to take the bus to the nearest grocery store, a 2-hour trip. Today, she picks her own food, pays an average of 30% less, and is so excited that she brings even more of her neighbors with her each week. Our team's focus on both education and access is working for Patty and the over 2,000 customers just like her in our community.
Our work with Mobile Fresh demonstrates what our team is capable of in just our first year of implementation, when we establish strong, clear partnerships, and when the community itself joins us in bridging livelihood gaps.
Now, what do you think we could accomplish if we spent even more time focused on a single community? What if we pushed ourselves to bridge the largest livelihood gaps we could find?
Well, we would need to be able to commit to a long-term focus on projects, and it would probably take multiple projects to address the gaps that we find. We would need strong local partners and people eager to achieve their own success. And we would probably need to entirely rethink the way that our team operates.
Well, that sounds like fun. Let's get to work. 3 years ago, we engaged in a 90-day research period, assessing proposals from our members for projects in 6 different countries. Through this process, we chose India as the location for our first ever Enactus Field Station.
The idea of the Enactus Field Station is that our team commits to running a series of projects over a 10-year period across all 4 of our team's operational categories. This results in a larger, broader impact and in lessons we can apply to any of our team's projects.
Welcome to Denkani Kodai, a rural community 60 miles outside of Bangalore. 3 years ago, our team discovered that the only school in the region was having to turn away hundreds of children each year because there was simply no room for them. They had the teachers, they had the land, but unless more classrooms could be built, over 500 local children would lose the opportunity of an education.
Well, we found a partner with a design for steel structures that could be completed in a week. We raised the funds and sent our own members to do the construction work. Now, 3 years after we finished 2 large classroom structures, we are pleased to report that other groups inspired by our story finished an additional 10 classrooms. So today, these children in Denton County Kodai have access to affordable education, and kids from 4 other local villages have joined them.
It was during this first trip to Denkari Kodai that we discovered another major livelihood gap. Each day, local women wake up before dawn to search for labor. If they're lucky, they will find a farmer or construction foreman who will hire them for a day as laborers. They will work for 12 hours and make less than $2 for a whole entire day.
But now we'd like for you to meet a friend of ours. Bessie here will work for just 30 minutes each day and can produce more than $4 worth of milk for her owner. So why doesn't every family just buy a cow? Well, here's the problem. The women in these villages would have to save every bit of their money, not spending any of it for a year and a half just to buy a single cow. This impossible situation led them to believe that they could never be anything more than day laborers.
Understanding this is what led our team to create the livelihood gap model we now use in all of our projects. And bridging it has resulted in one of the best examples of entrepreneurial action in the history of our team. We buy the cows, $500 each. We buy the cows that can bridge the impossible gap and more than double the income of every single woman we work with. Here's how it works.
In 2013, we discovered that women in each of these villages were already meeting every month. These self-help groups form an existing network we build on. Each group chooses 2 to 3 women to be recipients of a cow loan from our cow bank. They agree to repay this loan with a portion of the proceeds from the sale of milk. We then reinvest these funds to provide more cow loans.
Now, on paper, our cow bank model already looks great. But there's so much more going on here. We work with a local vet and a cow broker to identify only the healthiest cows available for sale. We purchase cow insurance for the full replacement value of the cow, eliminating the risk of women owing us money without the means to repay it. The vet even visits each home to teach the women how to care for and feed their cows.
But even if we buy the best cows, insure them, and make sure they're well cared for, none of this matters if the women can't sell the milk. So we formed agreements with all of the local milk wholesalers in the area. And with milk demand so consistently high, they were more than happy to guarantee the purchase of milk twice a day from every woman in the program.
Our model has now been proven. It works. To date, 50 women have become cow owners, earning between $4 to $5 per day. The milk wholesalers have benefited, expanding their operations and profits. Even local dairies are now thanking us for a more stable supply of milk for cheese and yogurt production. Our project is significantly and positively impacting the entire local economy.
This year, we not only added 25 cows to our cow bank, but launched a new component to our Enactus field station. This is a zola, a fern-type plant that grows rapidly on the surface of ponds. It's also a superfood for livestock, naturally improving the overall health of a cow and increasing both milk yield and fat content. This is Nick, our Enactus team president, with the first successful Azola site after he spent the past 9 months researching the idea.
We also took the time to visit all of the villages impacted by our cow bank, and we're happy to find that our project isn't just a drop in the bucket, it's literally filling it. Even our most optimistic projections from year 1 of our India field station don't come close to the real outcomes we've now seen.
This is Gowrie. After her husband left her, many expected her to have one of 2 options: become homeless or beg her parents to accept her back into their household. But instead, as a cow owner, she now has the income to support herself. She has fully repaid her cow loan, and her parents have even come to join her household.
And this is not just some isolated case. Every single woman in our program has, at minimum, doubled their previous level of income. Several have even seen their first cow give birth to 1 or more calves, increasing their income and status even further. But our team's greatest indicator of success takes us even beyond just a dramatic boost to the standard of living.
Take a look at Balalama's story. She used to spend every day looking for work as a laborer in construction sites, taking her newborn baby with her as she had no other option. More than 8 hours a day of hard labor, all for $1.60. Today, she takes care of her baby and her cow at home with hours to spare, earning nearly $5 per day from the sale of milk.
We asked her what she wants to do next. To start, I am going to learn how to write my own name. Balalama and almost every woman impacted by our cow bank has said the same thing to us. We could have never imagined ourselves as anything more than day laborers. We could never think beyond how we were going to afford the next meal for our families. Now we have money. Now we have time. Now our children can go to school, and now we can be something more.
This is the purpose of our India field station. This is what true impact looks like. This is what happens when you mix the passion and creativity of college students with the long-term commitment to see things through. What happens when you understand the people you're designing your projects for and then make them a vital part of it.
And our team is not going to stop here. We will continue expanding the cow bank and launching new projects through our India field station, beginning with new literacy and vocational training programs later this year. We will continue increasing sales for Mobile Fresh and expanding access to fresh, healthy food for even more of our neighbors.
From Southern California to Southern India and beyond, we will continue bridging the most challenging livelihood gaps we can find. Why? Because that is what Enactus is all about. So today, now that you've seen what a few students from La Sierra University can do, just imagine what is possible for students all over the world.
Thank you, La Sierra University. Judges, you may now begin the question and answer period.
I'd like to ask a question about your Mobile Fresh. You mentioned a 30% savings to the folks in buying their groceries. How are you going about making sure it's sustainable if you've got such a great pricing program? Because obviously you want to be able to do this on an ongoing basis and not just on a short-term basis.
Great question. So, as you mentioned, we peg our prices at 30% less than what these people would pay at a grocery store. And we're able to do that because we have relationships with these distributors. They're in this community. They're the same ones who are selling food to these grocery stores, and they believe in this project. They believe in what we're doing. So they're willing to give us this produce at those prices so that we can pass those savings on to the customer. As far as your larger question about sustainability, just to go through a few numbers, in March of just this past month, we had 955 customers, each spending an average of $4.65. We had cost of goods sold of $3,880, and we had revenues of $4,440. So this gave us a gross profit of $560 and a gross profit margin of 12.6%. Now, if you compare that to our costs were $2,300. So when you look at the gross profit, that means that we had $1,740 that we're still covering from private grants. However, our goal from the beginning of this project has been to get it to full operational sustainability. So how do we do that? Well, there's three things we can work with. We can increase the number of customers, we can increase how much each customer is spending on the bus, and we can improve our gross profit margin by reducing waste and lowering our cost of goods sold. And we've been doing all three. In the past 3 months, we've raised our gross profit percentage from 5% to the 12.6% I just mentioned. We've raised the amount that each customer is spending 8%, and we've raised the number of customers 15%. If you model this out linearly, mathematically, assuming linear growth rates, we would hit full operational sustainability where we're covering 100% of the costs about a year from now. But we want to do it even faster than that, and so we're looking at strategies to do that. We've already began one of them, which is that we are now accepting EBT payments. A lot of the people in these communities use these electronic benefit transfer payment programs, and so that's really going to increase sales. The other thing that we've done, and this has been as a result of feedback from these people, is we're going to start offering basic necessities on this bus. So not only fresh fruits and vegetables, but things like diapers, toilet paper, paper towel, And so that's going to increase sales as well. And I think all of this speaks to two very important things. Number one is the magnitude of this challenge. This is a challenge that traditional business has not been able to solve, because if they had, there would be grocery stores in these communities and this wouldn't even be an issue. But this is America, and there should not be communities of veterans, communities of retired persons, communities of minorities who can't even buy fresh fruits and vegetables in their home. And we as a team have decided that we are going to step in and solve this problem. And the other thing it speaks to is the strength of this team. That we're the kind of team that can take on a serious business challenge like this that requires a long-term, multi-year commitment.
I know you want us to wait until next year about the California Water Crisis Project, but just can't wait till next year. Can you share any thoughts with us?
That's an excellent question. I'm so glad you brought that up. That is a project that we have in research and development right now. We've been developing it since the beginning of the year. When we set about making projects in our team, we identify what we call core livelihood gaps. This is a serious problem that needs to be addressed, and we have core projects that address those gaps. And under those core projects, we have component projects. So like the Azola you saw today, that's a component project of this India Field Station. For this Azola project, we researched this 9 months because we wanted to make sure we looked at every angle. We didn't want to introduce an invasive species. We wanted to make sure this was sustainable. We take the same approach with each project. So we've been working all year doing research on what's the best way our team can address this. We're just not ready to present it to you yet. So look for it next year.
There are several cities and municipalities across the U.S. that are solving for food deserts. What collaboration have you had between your local community and other cities that are solving or have solved for food deserts? What key learnings can you share? What mistakes have you made?
Right now, we are focused on the issue in Riverside, California. So as of yet, we have not expanded this project beyond Riverside. That's where our focus is right now. As to your larger question of what learnings, this program has in fact been tried.
The question and answer time has expired. Judges, please join me in thanking the La Sierra University Enactus team.